From 92 to 18, 74 political parties deregistered by INEC on the grounds that they failed to meet the requirements for party registration. Affected parties kick. Also in this package, now we know the D-Days in Edo and Ondo gubernatorial face-off. Also today, balancing the table, a case for greater women representation in politics. These are our guiding thoughts today on Political Update. I am Fisayo Ogunfuyi. Welcome. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has deregistered 74 political parties, retaining only 18. INEC Chairman Professor Mahmood Yakubu announced this in Abuja Thursday, as we hear from Mie Ogidi.
Invitation for the press briefing was sudden, and there was no written agenda. So, the guessing game about the content of the meeting preoccupied the lips of journalists. Few minutes later, it became a public knowledge.
74 political parties are hereby deregistered.
Out of the 92 political parties, 74 could not escape the sledgehammer of Section 225A of the 1999 Constitution, which empowers INEC to deregister non-performing political parties. And these are the justifications.
In 2018, the Constitution was amended. In addition to extant provisions for the registration of political parties, the fourth alteration to the Constitution, Section 225A, empowers the Commission to deregister political parties. Prior to the fourth alteration, the Electoral Act 2010 as amended had provided for the deregistration of political parties. Based on this provision, the Commission between 2011 and 2013 deregistered 39 political parties. However, several of the parties challenged the power of INEC to deregister them, particularly on the ground that the Electoral Act is inferior to the Constitution and that deregistration infringed on their fundamental rights under the same Constitution. Subsequently, the courts ordered the Commission to reinstate the parties. It was for this reason that the National Assembly amended the Constitution to empower the Commission to deregister political parties on the following grounds. 1. Breach of any of the requirements for registration as a political party. 2. Failure to win at least 25% of the votes cast in one state of the Federation in a presidential election, or 25% of the votes cast in one local government area of a state in a governorship election. And 3. Failure to win at least one ward in a chairmanship election, one seat in the National or State Assembly election, or one seat in a councillorship election.
With this nullification, the list of successful political parties were announced. APC, PDP, SDP, ABGA, and YPP are among the 18 successful ones. However, Boot Party made the list because court ordered its registration after the general elections in 2019, while Action People's Party is enjoying the protection of the law court. Meanwhile, the political cloud of Edo and Ondo states are now open. Governorship contest, though limited to only the 18 political parties, will take place on the 19th of September 2020 in Edo State, while Ondo State will have its own day of decision on the 10th of October 2020.
I wish to remind all parties and candidates that violence during party primaries and electioneering campaigns, the snatching of election materials, or the deployment of thugs against INEC officials, observers, the media, and unarmed security personnel at polling units are acts punishable under our electoral laws. Already, the political atmosphere in a particular state is charged. No one should regard the release of the timetable for the elections as a signal to further escalate tension or a call to commence the recruitment of goons and arming of thugs and hoodlums. On this note, I want to thank you all and God bless you for coming.
Best of luck as the countdown begins. Mayor Ogidi, NT News.
I agree with Mayor, that's just the mere beginning. Joining us now on Political Update is Director of Voter Education, INEC, Mr. Ayodele Aluko. Let's ask you, the reasons why the decision was taken to deregister 74 parties were succinctly outlined there by the chairman. But any backlash so far?
No backlash, because INEC just fulfilled the provision of the Constitution. We just implemented what the Constitution said we should do. It's just a rotating, because every stakeholder in this democracy should do its job. We should comply with the laws of the land. That's what INEC did. We just looked at Section 225A and implemented it. So there's no backlash.
Some will say that ideologies must be protected, irrespective of their performance at the ballot, because, for instance, it might not necessarily be for this particular election, they are thinking about a greater purpose.
Those are subjective things. The law did not look at ideology. The law did not specify whether your party is beautiful, whether your party is green or red or yellow. The law just said, if you are in breach of certain conditions, that's 225, you stand deregistered. So INEC just looked at the parties and we did an assessment. It's like the law set an exam for them and 74 failed.
All right, let's look at it this way. Just permit me from a layman's perspective. You contested on a platform of a party, a small party, you won, and then defected to a bigger party. Does that factor, for instance, now that the candidate has moved to somewhere else, how would you factor that in? Does that have anything? Does that point go to the original party on which the platform with which the candidate contested originally, or does it go to where he is now?
Let me clarify something. In the eyes of the Constitution, there's no small party, there's no big party. The day you apply to the commission that you want to be registered as a political party, and you fulfill the conditions and you are registered, you are deemed to be equal to all other political parties. There's nothing like small party, there's nothing like big party.
But if we have only one
and
candidate,
they are treated equally by the commission.
If you say that, then finally, in terms of all these, some of the parties have said they are still in court. Have you thought about that? They said they are still in court and still trying to contest this while this decision was taken.
No, only one party is in court, and that is Action People's Party, APP. And so we left that party alone till the court decides its fate.
Okay, so let's move quickly now to other issues. The dates for the Ondo and Edo gubernatorial elections have already been set. What are the plans now? Because, of course, you know that we are already dancing in the podium in those two states. So what are the plans in place to make sure that some of perhaps what we noticed in November in Bayelsa and Kogi don't come surface again?
Well, it's important that stakeholders cooperate with the INEC for us to be able to conduct free and fair elections. Yesterday, the chairman talked about the need for the stakeholders to shun hiring of thugs, goons, that will start, troubling the political space. That's important. We know in one of the states, the stakes, are high now. A lot of stories coming out. There's a need for people to sort of allow peace to reign, so that we do not build up too much tension as we move towards the elections. But be that as it may, we also need to know that INEC will do its job. For us, it's routine conducting elections. We'll be doing it. 2019, conduct elections. some few days back, we just had the rerun elections.
But
normally we will source our officials, we will train officials, we get our materials, we will deploy our men, and we conduct the elections.
Well, the ballots,
those are the routine things we normally.
Some bags still get snatched, irrespective of how many times.
Well, we expect the police to also do its job. That's why we are saying that let there be cooperation with INEC to a higher extent. Stakeholder cooperation with INEC is important. INEC cannot conduct any election alone. Without the security agencies, we can't even deploy. So those who will snatch ballot, who will snatch ballot these, who will snatch ballot papers, who will intimidate people, the security people should not allow them.
All right, it's very nice having you, and of course we hope that we would continue to, get you into the studio as the days get nearer, especially in Edo and Ondo State. We'll be speaking with Director of Voter Education, Independent National Electoral Commission, Mr. Ayodele Aluko. Thank you so very much for coming. In the next segment, we will examine the increasing clamor for more women in politics. But before then, let's take a few stories. A coalition of civil societies has condemned what it termed as destructive utterances and activities of some politicians in opposition in Nigeria. Let's hear the rest of this report from Timothy Yusuf.
The diplomatic zone in Abuja has of recent become a common ground for some persons to register their grievances on some national issues other than the purpose for which the zone was established. The leadership of the People's Democratic Party, a leading opposition in the country, is one of the latest visitors to the Embassy of the United States of America and the Consulate of the United Kingdom, with an appeal on what they consider poor state of affairs in the country and calling attention to the need for international collaboration in solving Nigeria's problems.
When things goes wrong, other international community can come to advise.
The coalition of civil society groups in Nigeria has, however, condemned the protest, describing it as malicious, especially for the singular reasons that Nigeria is a sovereign nation. This peaceful protest, led by Comrade Emmanuel Nwosu, to the same diplomatic zone is calling on the international community, especially the United States of America, to disregard such protest, saying that there is no doubt that Nigeria has made very remarkable progress in the war against terror and insurgency, just as acknowledged by international communities.
Our mission to this embassy is to put forward to the ambassador a clear state of affairs in our country. We do not want politicians to use the insurgency in our country for political gain.
On the call for review of the Supreme Court judgment on the Imo State governorship election by the opposition, Emmanuel Nwosu believes that the apex court remains apolitical.
The Supreme Court of Nigeria is known for integrity. We have confidence, implicit confidence in the judiciary, and that is very clear.
The coalition maintains that Nigeria is greater than any individual. Timothy Yusuf, NTA News.
Now, government's efforts in the fight against terror and insurgency is receiving some commendation. Timothy Yusuf reports that some political actors, however, posit that the fight against the menace should be everyone's concern.
Let the voices that talk about the unity and togetherness of this country come up more, and let the governments of the respective states take responsibility on their own. Their funds, they do not apply it to training the children, managing the security, creating employment, activating agriculture, activating arts, things that people could do to drive or take their hands off crime.
In the past, we always left it for security personnel to handle. But these days, the issue of security has become everybody's concern. So the issue of security have come to the fore, and we cannot more run away from it. It's the most important thing now.
We have had some level of improvement ever since the administration came on board today in 2015. The bombings that we're experiencing in various parts of the country, we're going beyond the northeast, has really come down. But again, you can't say that is all that needs to be done. this urgency has to come to an end.
All we need is peace, and then we will have prosperity. So the effort to restore peace is one that everybody should be involved in. It's not only the president. All Nigerians have to work towards doing it.
We've done so much. The present administration has tried. The former administration tried, but we still have a long way to go. So I am of the opinion that security should be personalized. First of all, you have to be security conscious as an individual. Your community has to be security conscious as a community. And they should do everything to safeguard the lives of their people. Then the police will now come in. And I am of the opinion that the police force should be decentralized.
All right, moving on now. There is a growing recognition of the untapped capacity and talents of women and women leadership. The Democratic Institute says over the last 2 decades, the rate of women representation in national parliaments across the world has increased incrementally from 11.8% in 1998 to 17.8% in 2008 to an impressive 23.5%. Our next guest is President National Council of Women Societies, Gloria Shoda. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Now, in our local climate here, is there room for optimism in terms of women representation, in terms of women being galvanized and being encouraged to seek public offices?
Yes, NCWS has been at the forefront of advocating for more women inclusion, especially in governance. If you look at the professional field, you discover that women are doing very, very well. A lot of women are holding very important positions. But when it comes to governance, especially elective positions, women are lacking. In 2017, we had political summit in collaboration with the University of the ABU, Ahmadu Bello University, the Faculty of Social Sciences. We had a political, summit. A few women came. But when we had it in late 2019, in collaboration with the Office of the First Lady, the Ministry of Women Affairs, there were many women, and thousands of women keyed into the political space and tried to contest. Of course, a lot of them were removed during the primary elections. They were not picked, and a lot of them that contested did not win for so many reasons that we all know. So women are doing very well. They are ready. But we have a lot of inhibitions when it comes to contesting.
There is the African aspect of it. A lot of women said you have some women say there's a slogan where women talk to women, women understand all these things. But when it comes to election, the African woman supports the husband first, before thinking of a fellow woman. How do you unravel that conundrum in terms of pushing your agenda to the fore, especially in the way that you'll be able to advertise your competencies at different levels?
I agree with you that people believe that the African woman supports her husband first, but it's not all husbands that contest. And we haven't had many women contesting. Even our auntie that has been contesting for presidency for a long time, Sarah Jibril, she has never contested. She has always been stopped at the primary levels. So she doesn't even know whether women will vote for her or not. Until you have the chance to have a woman contest. We were expecting a woman to contest for presidency, but along the line, it didn't happen. So if women contest, then they will know whether they are going to be voted for. In Imo State, one woman just surfaced again, and we've had a lot of women coming back to House of Reps and the Senate. They contested and they won. If women can have the space to contest, devoid of violence, because violence is one of the things that inhibits women from contesting. A lot of women, they don't have the heart for violence. Money politicking is a big challenge for women, because even when the women have lots of money, they don't want to waste it giving it out because they want to contest. They believe that if they have what it takes to contest, people should vote for them. But a lot of women are not given the chance to even contest.
Let's move on because of time very quickly. Beyond leadership, let's look at followership a little. In the past few elections, we've seen that women too have fallen prey to vegetable oil and bags of rice. Have you been able to sensitize along these lines that this is just temporary? Why not starve yourself a bit and then make sure that the right people come into power?
Yes, you are right. We have been sensitizing women in that area, because you know there's hunger in the country, and a lot of women think about their children first. They want to feed their children. So when they see bags of rice or vegetable oil, the first thing that comes into their head is soup for their children and for the husbands too. So they think of their children first, so they collect. But we have seen a case where women collect these things and still vote for those people that they want to vote for. That is the trend that is coming up now. Collect whatever they bring because it's your right, but vote for your conscience.
Finally, in terms of the other sensitization efforts from the NCWS, can you quickly give us a brief on some of the efforts you are making in about a minute before we run off?
Is it towards politics?
No, apart from politics.
Yes, we do a lot of sensitization, especially in the health area. Let me give an example, because yesterday was the International Day for the abolition of genital mutilation. We have been doing this over the years. We have been sensitizing women, but this thing is still prevalent in some areas of this country. We know that we have this practice in about 30 countries in the world, but in Nigeria we have it nearly in every state. Some people do it quietly and without people knowing, because they believe that when they circumcise a woman, then she will not be promiscuous when she gets married, which is not true. They increase her health hazards. They increase problem of during giving birth to children. So I think the government should put in place measures to punish people who still perpetrate this evil. I think it's an evil they are doing to women.
Madam Gloria, sure that so much to talk about. I need to perhaps invite you again so that you can elaborate on this. But for starters, I want to thank you for coming and your efforts so far. Wish, of course, that perhaps when you bring more and more women on board so that we can vote for them, because I can't. The ones I can vouch for many, like my mom and my wife. All right, let's. That's the program. Before we go, let's tell you that the Supreme Court has upheld the conviction of former Taraba State Governor Jolly Nyame for embezzlement of state funds. That's just reaching off. That's a political update for today. We'll be back next Tuesday for a fresher package, when we shall be talking to a political actor in Edo State. He's a pastor, is a politician. Find out next week. My name is Fisao Ogunfi. Thanking you for staying tuned. All the best, and keep it locked on the Nigerian Television Authority, where we give you the very best of news, reviews, previews, and interviews. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye-bye now.